There's a Tesla rebounding ever so slightly today. The stock is down roughly 25%. That's just for the month of November. Our Phil LeBeau has more on a name that has vastly underperformed the broader automotive sector, Phil.
Oh, easily, by a wide margin, David, down more than 50% year to date. Take a look at what's happened to Tesla over the last 2 years. You talk about a roller coaster ride, because we're looking at shares now trading at a 2-year low, and that had a nice move. You know, it was sort of towards the middle to end of 2020 when you really start to see shares accelerate. Well, they've given all that up now, despite the fact that when you look at the metrics behind the profits and losses and manufacturing and production from Tesla, there's no indication that the company is slowing down. Take a look at this. Revenue this year up 579% compared to 2021. EBITDA up 167%. Deliveries up 45%. Just a hair under their guidance, if you will, their rough guidance of increasing deliveries on an annual basis by at least 50%. And then in terms of its market share, at least here in the United States, they're still king of the hill. Roughly 2 out of every 3 electric vehicles sold in this country are Tesla models, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Do we expect that market share to come down, let's say, over the next year to 2 years? Yeah, likely, but right now their average selling price, just over $51,000. So that brings up the question, why are shares under pressure? Well, a lot of it has to do with Elon Musk. In part, you've had the Tesla stock sales, which had to go to fund his acquisition of Twitter. And on top of that, if you look at what he has been tweeting and what he has been saying about Tesla, it really hasn't been much in the last month and a half. And as a result, there's no story to drive this stock. And in fact, over the last day or two, a lot of the stories are, is business slowing down in China? Take a look at Tesla versus GM and Toyota. This is the indication of how far Tesla has fallen relative to other automakers, guys. It is down, 51%, and then you've got GM and Toyota down 21 and 31%. So it is a case where right now, if you are a Tesla investor, you're wondering, where's the story? Because this is what drives this stock right now.
Yeah, that's a great point, Phil. Obviously, we should still point out it's roughly tenfold, the market cap, tenfold that of GM or Ford. But, you know, I wonder, is there a linkage between Twitter and the performance of which, of course, we don't know a lot about anymore, at least in the stock market. It's a private company, but it is solely owned by Mr. Musk. You pointed out he's not tweeting as much about Tesla. He's clearly got his focus on Twitter, it would seem. Is there a linkage? Is there anything you would point to in terms of the weakness in Tesla because of what's going on at Twitter?
Mainly that he is more focused on Twitter, and he's not as focused in terms of whether it's tweeting, whether it's doing anything so people remember that Tesla is out there. That has been so much of what has driven Tesla over the last couple of years, David, and that's not happening right now. If you look at what he's tweeting about the changes at Twitter that are happening and how it's a public town square, whatever it is. There's very little, almost no tweets about Tesla.
But, Phil, let's step back and consider what you're actually saying here. This is a stock that over 2 years is about flat in Tesla. Over 3 years, it's up over 700%. Okay. Right. So it's had this monster move, and somehow, to some degree, the stock performance was highly dependent on how much the CEO tweeted about it. Right? I mean, you mentioned all the fundamentals, but there's also worried about China stock demand, Tesla demand as well is filtered in.
Well, Mike, I'm not saying that Elon Musk is the only reason that this stock moves up or moves down. Look what's happened over the last 3 years, or the last 5 years, when you have the Model Y, the Model 3, the accelerating sales, the accelerating production. Let's talk about what they have on deck right now. Tell me what's next for Tesla, aside from December 1st and the beginning of deliveries for the Tesla semi-trucks, which is not going to move the needle. What else is out there? All right, maybe they pick a new manufacturing facility in the next year. There is nothing fundamentally with that business that is driving momentum right now.
Yeah, certainly remarkable if you plot Tesla, GM against each other for the last 3 or 6 months. Pretty amazing what's going on, Phil. Thank you, Phil LeBeau, talking some Tesla.